Rain slammed against the cracked windows of the tiny apartment. Ethan, 12 years old, sat on the worn-out steps of the corner store, clutching a small paper bag. Inside was the last piece of bread he had for the day. His stomach growled, but he didn't touch it. Across the street, a frail old couple huddled under the sagging awning, shivering, soaked through. Their faces were pale, hands trembling as they tried to shield themselves from the downpour. Ethan's heart twisted. He knew he had a choice. Eat the last bit of bread and soothe his hunger, or share it with them, even if it left him starving. "Excuse me, could you spare some?" The old woman's voice quivered. Ethan hesitated. He glanced down at the bread. One piece. That's all he had. And yet, without thinking twice, he tore it in half and handed it to them. "Here, take this," he said, forcing a brave smile despite the gnawing emptiness in his stomach. The old couple's eyes welled up. "Thank you. Thank you so much," the man whispered, grasping Ethan's small hands in theirs. Ethan turned to leave, rain soaking him to the bone, teeth chattering, stomach hollow. He had done what he felt was right, and in that moment he had no idea that this simple act of kindness would set off a chain of events that would change his life forever. The next morning, a sharp, insistent knock echoed at Ethan's door. Not a neighbor, not a friend. A tall man in a sleek black suit, eyes piercing, hand holding a large envelope, smiled down at him. "Ethan," he said calmly, "I've been looking for someone exactly like you." And just like that, Ethan's ordinary world began to crumble and rebuild around him. Ethan's hands were still damp from the rain when he opened the door wider. The man in the black suit didn't wait for an invitation. He stepped inside, placing the large envelope carefully on the worn kitchen table. "I'm Mr. Harrison," he said, voice calm but commanding. "And I need your help." Ethan blinked. "My help?" "Yes," Mr. Harrison said. "I've been watching people for a long time. I want to see who has real kindness. I think that person might be you." Ethan swallowed hard. His mother, Rachel, appeared from the hallway, her mop still dripping, eyes wide. "Who are you? What's going on?" "Good morning, Mrs. Taylor." "I'm a friend," Harrison said smoothly. "Your son made a choice yesterday, a choice that shows courage and heart. I'd like to reward him, but there's a condition." Rachel's brow furrowed. "Condition?" "You must trust me," Harrison said, looking at Ethan. "Tomorrow morning I want him to come with me. I will show him something, a world he's never seen before, but he must prove every day that his heart is as strong as yesterday." Ethan felt a flutter of fear. He looked at his mother. "Mom, can I?" Rachel hesitated. Her eyes scanned the small apartment, the empty fridge, the bills stacked neatly on the counter. But when she saw Ethan's eyes, bright, determined, she nodded slowly. "Go. But be careful, Ethan. Promise me you'll be careful." That night, Ethan could barely sleep. He thought about the old couple and the piece of bread he had given away. He thought about the envelopes of bills he had seen stacked on the counter. He thought about Mr. Harrison, tall and silent, and that strange glint in his eyes. Something about this man felt dangerous, but exciting. The next morning, Harrison's sleek black car waited at the curb. Ethan climbed in, feeling the leather seats beneath him, the scent of polished wood and cologne. Harrison handed him the envelope from yesterday. "Inside," he said, "is everything you need to start your first task." Ethan tore it open. Inside were 10 $50 bills, a notebook, and a small card with one sentence. "Find someone who needs you today." "Go," Harrison said. "I'll be watching." Ethan felt a rush of panic. That's it? Just 10 bills? He couldn't even feed himself with that much. And yet the thought of the old couple came rushing back, their frail hands, their grateful eyes. "Okay," he whispered. His first stop was the local shelter. A mother with 3 kids huddled on a bench. One of the children coughed, shivering in thin clothes. Ethan handed her a few bills and offered his jacket. She stared at him, disbelief painted across her face. "Thank you. We don't know how to repay you." Ethan shrugged. "Just take care of each other." By mid-afternoon, he had helped an elderly man struggling with groceries, a single mother stuck at a bus stop in the rain, and a little boy crying over a lost backpack. Each time, Ethan felt a twinge of exhaustion, hunger gnawing at his stomach. And yet, something inside him swelled. Harrison watched from a distance, silent, notebook in hand. Every time Ethan hesitated or stumbled, Harrison noted it. Every time Ethan smiled or offered a small comfort, Harrison's eyes softened. At sunset, Ethan returned to the sleek car. "Did I do okay?" he asked, cheeks flushed. Harrison gave a small smile. "You did more than okay. But tomorrow, it will get harder. People will test you, try to trick you, maybe even hurt you. You must stay honest. You must stay kind. Can you do that?" Ethan nodded. I'll try." Rachel waited at home, pacing the small apartment. When Ethan walked in, dripping wet and exhausted, she rushed to him. "Tell me everything," she demanded. I helped people," he said simply. "Some were sad, some were scared. I didn't do it for anything. His voice faltered. "I just wanted to help, Mom." Rachel's eyes brimmed with tears. "Oh, Ethan, you're my brave boy." That night, Ethan couldn't stop thinking about Harrison's words. People will test you. Who would test him? And what would happen if he failed? He didn't know yet that the challenges ahead would push him to the edge, forcing him to make choices that could break hearts, betray trust, or prove just how strong one small boy's kindness could be. And somewhere, in the shadows of the city, Mr. Harrison watched. He had found what he was looking for, but he didn't yet know if Ethan could survive the trials ahead. The next morning, Ethan woke to the faint hum of the city. The small apartment felt unusually quiet. He clutched the notebook Harrison had given him and reread the sentence. "Find someone who needs you today." It sounded simple, but Harrison's words the day before lingered in Ethan's mind. People will try to trick you. You must stay honest. The first test came almost immediately. As Ethan walked toward the local park, a teenage boy roughly his age blocked his path. "Hey, kid," the boy sneered. "I hear you've been handing out money." Handed over, Ethan froze. His stomach sank. He didn't know this boy, and yet he felt an odd twinge of fear. I can't," Ethan said, shaking. The boy's eyes narrowed. "Or what? You think that man in the suit will save you?" He snatched the small envelope Ethan had tucked in his jacket. Ethan's heart thumped, but he refused to fight back. Instead, he did the only thing he could. He called for help. The boy ran, but the encounter left Ethan shaken. Harrison appeared from across the street, silent as ever. He scribbled something in his notebook, then nodded slightly at Ethan. "That," Harrison said, "was your first real test. People will take advantage of kindness. The question is, will you respond with anger or continue with a pure heart?" Ethan's jaw tightened. "I can't let fear win," he thought. By midday, Ethan's path led him to a small, run-down neighborhood. There, he saw Mrs. Franklin, a widowed woman struggling to carry a bag of groceries. Her face was pale, exhaustion etched in every line. Ethan ran to help her. "Here, let me," he said, taking some of the bags. Mrs. Franklin's eyes filled with tears. "Thank you, dear boy." "You're an angel." As Ethan helped her inside, he overheard muffled voices from next door. 2 men were arguing violently. He peeked through the window and saw a young girl crying, cornered by the men. Ethan froze. He knew he had to do something. But how? He remembered Harrison's words. "You must stay honest." This wasn't about money anymore. It was about courage. Ethan took a deep breath, stepped outside, and knocked on the door. The men turned, sneering. "What do you want, kid?" Ethan swallowed. "Leave her alone." "Please." For a tense moment, no one moved. Then, slowly, the men backed off, muttering threats. Ethan guided the girl to safety. Her eyes were wide with fear and relief. "Thank you," she whispered. I don't know what would have happened if you weren't here." As Ethan walked away, a strange sense of pride mixed with exhaustion. He had survived his first true moral test, but he sensed Harrison was planning something even harder. Back at the car, Harrison didn't speak. He merely handed Ethan a small envelope. Inside, a photo of the old couple Ethan had helped the day before, now looking worried, standing outside their crumbling apartment. A note at the bottom. "Tomorrow, you'll see the consequences of your choices." Ethan felt a lump in his throat. He had only wanted to help, but now, his actions seemed to have ripple effects he hadn't considered. That night he returned home, shaking. His mother noticed immediately. "Ethan, what's wrong?" "You look like you've seen a ghost." I helped people today," Ethan whispered. "And it's not simple, Mom. Some of them hurt people. Some try to trick you. I didn't know what to do." Rachel sat beside him, brushing his wet hair from his forehead. "Honey, you did the right thing, even when it's hard. That's what matters." But Ethan couldn't shake a nagging fear. Harrison had said there would be consequences. He didn't know if it was meant for him or for the people he helped. The next day, the first ripple hit. At school, Jamie, Ethan's classmate, approached him with a smug grin. "I saw your little charity stunt yesterday," Jamie said, loud enough for a few nearby kids to hear. "Pretty pathetic, if you ask me." Giving away money you don't even have, Ethan felt the blood rush to his face. I'm just trying to help," he muttered. Jamie laughed. "Yeah, well, not everyone wants to be helped. Some people think you're weak. Watch your back, hero." The words stung, but Ethan remembered Mrs. Franklin's eyes, the girl he saved, the old couple's grateful faces. He swallowed the shame, letting it go. After school, Harrison met him at the usual spot. "Not everyone will understand your choices," Harrison said. "Some will resent them. That's part of the test. You must continue, no matter what anyone says." Ethan nodded. He was exhausted, scared, and yet something inside him burned brighter than ever. Then came the final twist of the day. Returning home, Ethan found a small envelope slipped under the apartment door. Inside was a single note. "Your kindness has unintended consequences. Someone you love will soon be affected. Choose wisely." Ethan froze. His mother, Rachel, appeared behind him. "Ethan, what is it?" He could barely speak. It's from him. Harrison. He says, someone we love might be in danger." Rachel's eyes widened. Fear gripped her face. "Oh no. Oh no, Ethan." Ethan realized the tests weren't just about helping strangers. They were about sacrifice, about bravery, about keeping a pure heart when the stakes were highest. And somewhere in the city, Harrison watched silently, notebook in hand, calculating every choice Ethan had made, and preparing the next trial that could break or define the boy forever. Rain poured again, heavier than yesterday. Ethan walked the streets clutching the notebook Harrison had given him. The warning note from the night before gnawed at his thoughts. Someone you love will soon be affected. Choose wisely. He couldn't stop thinking about his mother. Rachel worked 2 jobs, cleaning offices late into the night. Every dollar she earned barely kept the apartment together. What if Harrison's warning was about her? Ethan turned a corner and froze. Ahead, a familiar figure struggled with groceries. His heart skipped. It's her. It's Mom. A van screeched to a stop. 2 men jumped out, eyes hidden behind dark sunglasses. Ethan's pulse raced. "Mom!" he shouted. Rachel turned, startled. Before she could react, one of the men yanked a bag of groceries from her hands. Ethan's legs moved on instinct. He grabbed a nearby stick and ran toward them, adrenaline surging. "Let her go!" Ethan screamed, his voice cracking. The men laughed. "And who's going to stop us?" "You, little charity boy." One pushed Ethan to the ground. Pain shot through his arm, but he refused to cry out. He struggled back up, eyes blazing. Then a siren wailed in the distance. The men hesitated, giving Ethan a split second. He lunged, grabbing the groceries, and shoved his mother behind him. The men bolted into the night. Rachel's hands shook as she clutched Ethan. "Oh my God! Ethan, you saved me!" Ethan dropped to his knees, breath ragged. I can't lose you, Mom." Later, safe in their apartment, Harrison appeared. Ethan flinched. Why did you do this?" he demanded, tears streaming. Harrison's face was unreadable. "I had to see if your kindness would survive fear, if your courage would protect those you love. You passed, but the real challenge is ahead." Ethan's stomach sank. "The real challenge? How much worse can it get?" Harrison didn't answer immediately. Instead, he handed Ethan a folder. Inside were photos of people Ethan had helped. The old couple, Mrs. Franklin, the little girl. But alongside them were images of misfortune, tripped falls, stolen wallets, arguments breaking out, all somehow connected to Ethan's interventions. "You see," Harrison said, "even good intentions have consequences. The world is not simple, and sometimes even kindness brings risk." Ethan sank into a chair, overwhelmed. He had wanted only to help, only to do what was right, but now it felt like the world was punishing him for being good. That night, Ethan sat by the window, staring at the rain-slicked streets. He thought about the little girl, Mrs. Franklin, the old couple. He thought about the envelope warning about his mother. His chest ached, not from hunger this time, but from the weight of responsibility. The next morning, Harrison presented a new challenge. "Ethan, today you will make a choice. You may help one person and save another, or attempt to save both, but at a cost." Ethan's eyes widened. What do you mean?" Harrison gestured to two envelopes. One contained a note about a family trapped in a building fire. The other described an elderly man being mugged downtown. Only enough time to save one completely. Ethan's mind raced. He thought of his mother, the old couple, and all the people he had helped. He felt dizzy. I can't choose." Harrison's eyes pierced him. "Sometimes the heart must decide, and sometimes sacrifice is inevitable." Ethan ran toward the burning building first. Smoke curled thickly into the sky. Flames licked the walls. Inside, a family of 4 screamed, trapped. He ignored the heat singeing his hair, rushing in. The children clung to him as he guided them out. The parents followed. He collapsed outside, coughing, tears streaking his soot-covered face. As he staggered to the street corner, he realized the elderly man was nowhere in sight. Panic surged. Ethan ran, lungs burning, heart pounding. He found the man, cornered again by 2 thieves. Ethan's legs were like lead, but he charged forward, yelling. The thieves hesitated, then bolted. Ethan caught his breath, helped the man up, and handed him the groceries he had bought earlier that morning. The man smiled weakly. "Thank you, young man." "God bless you." Exhausted, bruised, and shaking, Ethan looked up at Harrison, standing silently across the street. Harrison nodded slowly, approvingly. You did it," Ethan gasped. I saved them both." Harrison's voice was calm, almost soft. "Yes, but do you understand now? True kindness requires courage, sacrifice, and sometimes suffering. You have proven yourself, but this world is never simple." Never. Ethan sank to the curb, tears streaming freely. He had faced fear, risk, and the reality that every choice has consequences. And yet, through it all, his heart remained unbroken. That evening, back in their apartment, Ethan's mother embraced him. "I was so scared, Ethan. I don't know how you did it. I had to," he whispered, holding her close. "I couldn't let anyone get hurt." "Not on my watch." Rachel looked into his eyes, seeing a maturity far beyond his 12 years. "You're extraordinary, Ethan. I just hope the world is ready for someone like you." As Ethan lay in bed that night, bruised, exhausted, and emotionally drained, a small envelope slid under his door. Inside, a single sentence: "The final test is coming. The person you trust most may surprise you." Ethan's heart pounded. He didn't know who. Was it his mother, Jamie, the old couple, or someone else entirely? One thing was certain: the next day, nothing would be the same, and the choice he had to make would push him to the limits of courage, kindness, and trust, forcing him to confront secrets that could shatter his world forever. And somewhere, silently, Harrison watched, a faint smile on his lips. For the first time, he wasn't just observing. He was waiting to see if Ethan's heart could survive the ultimate test. The city slept under a heavy blanket of fog. Ethan woke, muscles sore, mind racing. Harrison's note from the previous night weighed heavily in his hands. "The person you trust most may surprise you." Ethan didn't understand. Who could it be? His mother? Jamie? The old couple he had helped? Or someone else entirely? His chest tightened, a mix of fear and determination pressing down on him. He met Harrison at the corner of their usual spot. The man's face was unreadable, but his eyes glimmered with something: expectation, challenge, maybe even admiration. "Today," Harrison began, "you will face your final test. It will demand your heart, your courage, and your mind. Fail, and the consequences will reach those you care about most." Ethan nodded, swallowing hard. He was ready to do whatever it took. Harrison handed him 2 envelopes. One was labeled family, the other strangers. Ethan's hands shook as he opened the first. Inside were photos of Rachel, his mother, trapped in a collapsed apartment building, smoke curling from the windows. His stomach lurched. The second envelope showed the old couple and the little girl, standing outside a small school surrounded by a gang of rowdy teenagers. Threats of violence and chaos loomed in the pictures. Ethan's heart pounded. He had only 12 hours to save both, but it seemed impossible. He felt tears sting his eyes. "I can't lose them. I can't choose." Harrison's voice cut through his thoughts. "Sometimes the impossible is possible. Sometimes sacrifice is not what you give, but what you inspire in others." Ethan's mind raced. He could run to save his mother, leaving the others at risk, or he could go to the school first, saving the strangers, but endangering the person who mattered most. Then he remembered something. Jamie, his classmate, who had mocked him, gossiped about him, and yet had helped Ethan earlier when he had fallen behind in a volunteer task. Jamie had courage, too. Could he trust him? Ethan ran to the school first, deciding to rely on Jamie. Arriving, he found the gang surrounding the little girl and the old couple, shouting, shoving, threatening. His chest heaved. "Stop!" Ethan yelled. The gang ignored him. He grabbed a trash can lid as a shield, stepping between the kids and the gang. Suddenly, Jamie appeared from behind, holding a fire extinguisher. "Move back!" he shouted. Together, they created a diversion, forcing the gang to scatter. The old couple and the little girl ran to safety. Ethan's chest heaved with relief, but he knew his mother was still in danger. Without a moment's hesitation, he sprinted toward the collapsed apartment building. Smoke billowed from broken windows, flames licking the edges. Fear clawed at his chest, but he pushed forward. Inside, debris shifted with every step. Ethan crawled over fallen beams, his hands scraped and bloody. A weak voice called out, "Ethan, help me!" Rachel's face appeared through a gap in the rubble. Ethan's heart leapt. "Mom! I'm here!" He rushed toward her, carefully moving the debris aside. The building creaked ominously, threatening to collapse further. Every second counted. Finally, he reached her. "Hold my hand, Mom! We're getting out!" She grabbed his hand tightly. Together they climbed over the wreckage, sliding down a broken stairwell. Dust filled their lungs, sweat mingled with tears, but finally they emerged into the open air. Rachel clutched Ethan's shoulder, sobbing. I thought I'd lost you." Ethan hugged her tightly. "I'll never let anything happen to you." Never. As they caught their breath, Harrison appeared silently behind them. Ethan straightened, breathing ragged, covered in dust and grime. "You did it," Harrison said. "You saved everyone. You faced fear, risk, and impossible choices, and you did not falter." Ethan shook his head, still overwhelmed. I don't know how. I was scared, so scared." Harrison smiled faintly. "Courage is not the absence of fear. It is action despite fear. You inspired others, relied on those you trust, and made sacrifices that matter. That is real power." Ethan looked around. The old couple hugged him tightly, the little girl clung to Jamie, and his mother held him as if letting go would break them both. The world felt alive, dangerous, and fragile all at once. Then Harrison handed Ethan a small box. Inside was a key and a card. "This is your future. Use it wisely." What is it?" Ethan asked. Harrison's eyes glimmered. "It's a choice, Ethan. Not about money or comfort, but about your heart. You can change the world, starting now. The question is, will you?" Ethan's mind raced. He thought about the bread he had given the old couple, about every person he had helped, about every test Harrison had thrown at him. Every moment of fear, pain, and uncertainty had taught him something vital. That kindness matters, courage matters, and the choices we make ripple farther than we can see. Rachel squeezed his hand. "Whatever it is, Ethan, we trust you." The old couple nodded, smiling through tears. Jamie gave a thumbs up, grinning despite dirt on his face. Ethan held the key tightly. He felt something shift inside him, strength, determination, and hope. He didn't know what the key unlocked, or what doors lay ahead, but he knew one thing. He would face it with the same heart that had guided him all along. As Harrison watched silently, a rare smile touched his lips. For the first time, he wasn't testing Ethan. He was watching the boy step into a future he had earned, not given. And just as Ethan turned to look at the city below, a text message buzzed on his phone. From an unknown number. "We've been watching you too. Your kindness has reached farther than you know. Be ready for what comes next." Ethan's heart skipped a beat. He looked at the skyline, rain beginning to fall again, streets glistening under the neon lights. His journey was far from over, but he also knew he was ready. He clutched the key tighter. He didn't know the challenges ahead, the people he would meet, or the sacrifices he might face. But he did know one truth. No matter what happened, he would act with courage, kindness, and heart. Somewhere deep in the shadows of the city, Harrison watched, satisfied. The ultimate choice had been made. Ethan had proven himself, not just to the world, but to himself. Yet even as relief washed over him, a shiver of anticipation ran down his spine. The unknown loomed ahead. And as Ethan stepped forward into the rain-soaked streets, he knew the story was only beginning. The rain had stopped, leaving the streets glistening under the soft glow of streetlights. Ethan walked slowly, the key in his pocket, a heavy reminder of everything he had endured. His body ached, but his heart felt full. Braver, stronger, and unshakably kind. Rachel walked beside him, holding his hand tightly. "You've grown so much, Ethan," she said softly. "I don't know how you did it all, but I am so proud of you." Ethan smiled, though a part of him still trembled. I didn't do it alone, Mom. Everyone helped me. Jamie, the old couple, Mrs. Franklin, even you. The old couple appeared on the sidewalk ahead, waving eagerly. Our little hero, Mrs. Lynn called out, tears shining in her eyes. George chuckled, patting Ethan on the shoulder. You've got the heart of a giant, son. Jamie jogged up, grinning despite the dirt on his clothes. Not bad for a charity boy, he teased lightly. Guess I can't give you any more trouble. For now. Ethan laughed, a sound that felt like sunlight after days of storm. He looked at each person, feeling the incredible ripple of connection they had created together. Every act of kindness, every brave choice had led them here, alive, safe, and stronger. He reached into his pocket and touched the key. Its weight reminded him of Harrison's words. This is your future. Use it wisely. Ethan didn't know exactly what it unlocked, and part of him feared he might never truly find out. But the choice itself, how to use his heart, how to act in the world, was already a gift he had discovered within himself. A gentle wind blew through the streets, carrying with it the scent of rain and possibility. Ethan looked up at the skyline, neon lights reflecting off puddles, and felt a strange shiver of anticipation. Somewhere out there, beyond the corners of the city he knew, people and opportunities awaited, people he could help, lives he could touch. His phone buzzed again. Another message from the unknown number flashed on the screen. The world is watching. Be ready. Your kindness has started a chain that cannot be stopped. Ethan stared at the message, a mix of fear and excitement surging through him. He didn't understand who was watching or what was coming next. But one thing was certain. He wouldn't back down. Not now. Not ever. He glanced at Rachel, then at the old couple and Jamie. Their trust, love, and faith in him strengthened his resolve. Ethan took a deep breath, tucking the key safely in his pocket, and whispered to himself, I'm ready. And with that, he stepped forward into the city's glimmering streets, unsure of what lay ahead, but certain of who he was and what he stood for. The rain-slicked streets stretched before him, endless and full of possibilities. Harrison, watching silently from afar, smiled faintly. The ultimate test wasn't over. The world would continue to challenge Ethan, but for the first time the boy knew he was capable of facing anything. And somewhere, just out of sight, the first ripple of the next adventure began to take shape.